Shrimad's divine grace, founder of ISKCON, abide Charnaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki, grant Lord Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki, their most merciful Lordship Shri Kunja Bihari ki, Shri Jagannath, Shri Baladeva Subhadra ki, Shri Nataji, Shri Balagopal ki, Shri Gaurita ki, Nitai Go Prem. All glories to the assembly. All glories to the assembly. All glories to the assembly. All glories to the Lord's Spirit of Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya.
Narayanam Namaskritya.
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Todayamatiraya.
Todayamatiraya.
Nasta Praisha Bhadreshu.
Nasta Praisha Bhadreshu.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke.
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke.
Bhaktir Bhagavati Naistiki.
Bhaktir Bhagavati Naistiki.
Reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 1, beginning a new chapter today. Chapter 15, entitled The Pandavas Retire Timely, from text 1.
We'll read 1, 2, 3, 4, Prabhu, because 1 is only less perfect. 1 line.
Yeah, well.
2, 3, no purports. 4.
2 and 3 have no purports.
4.
4, so you want me to read 1, 2, 3, and 4?
Yeah.
See what happens. Okay. 1 does have a purport.
Yeah, just 1 line.
So we will recite 1 together. What did we? Om Namo. We did. Sutta Uvacha Sutta Uvacha Evam Krishna Saka Krishno Evam Krishna Saka Krishno Bratra Rajna Vikalpita Bratra Rajna Vikalpita Nana Sankasparam Rupam Nana Sankaspadam Rupam Krishna Vishlesa Karsita Krishna Vishlesa Karsita Sutta Uvacha Evam Krishna Saka Krishno Evam Krishna Saka Krishno Bratra Rajna Vikalpita Bratra Rajna Vikalpita Nana Sankaspadam Rupam Nana Sankaspadam Rupam Krishna Vishlesa Karshita Krishna Vishlesa Karshita Sutta Uvacha Evam Krishna Saka Krishno Bratra Rajna Vikalpita Nana Sankaspadam Rupam Krishna Vishlesa Karshita Sutta Uvacha Evam Krishna Saka Krishno Bratra Kalpita Nana Sankapastam Rupam Krishna Vishlesa Karshita Sutta Uvacha Evam Krishna Saka Krishno Bratra Rajna Vikalpita Rana Sankapastam Rupam Krishna Vishlesa Karshita Sutta Uvacha. Sutta Goswami said, Evam, thus, Krishna Saka, the celebrated friend of Krishna, Krishna, Arjuna, Bhratra, by his elder brother, Rajna, King Yudhishthira, Vikalpita, speculated, Nana, various, Sankaspadam, based on many doubts, Rupam, forms, Krishna, Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa, Vishlesa, feelings of separation, Karsita, became greatly bereaved. Sutta vacha evam Krishna Sika Krishno Bhratra Ragna Vikalpita Nana Sankaspadam Rupam Krishna Vishlesa Karsita. Srila Goswami said, the celebrated friend of Lord Krishna was grief-stricken. Srila Goswami said, Arjuna, the celebrated friend of Lord Krishna, was grief-stricken because of his strong feeling of separation from Krishna. Over and above all, Maharaj Yudhishthira's speculative inquiries. Please repeat. Srila Goswami said, Arjuna, the celebrated friend of Lord Krishna, was grief-stricken because of his strong feeling of separation from Krishna. Over and above all, Maharaj Yudhishthira's speculative inquiries. Report by His Divine Grace of I, Charnadavinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Being too much aggrieved, Arjuna practically became choked up, and therefore it was not possible for him to reply properly to the various speculative inquiries of Maharaj Yudhishthira. Om Jnanatamrandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshushanmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. As we see in so many verses, summed total in this one verse is the entirety of the philosophy of Bhagavatam itself, revealing the feeling Arjuna is having now. Krishna has revealed himself as the Supreme Person that ever has been, that ever will be. He's revealed to him intimate aspects of his own personality he has not revealed to anyone else on the entire battlefield. And so now, here we are seeing the resultant feelings Arjuna is having from now this Krishna, his greatest friend. And now he's come to know him as the Supreme Person who has all along been with him through his entire life. And they are closer than family, you could say, by what Krishna has revealed to him as being the personality of Godhead. So this totality of the Samam Bonam, as Krishna describes himself, this is what all the Vedas are really about, is getting us to realize our own separation from Krishna. You see, these scriptures are given to us to be able to, by seeing the relationship develop by those other souls, and then learning about the nature of Krishna's own personality, that he is calling us to the same kinds of friendship. He's calling us to become as close to him as Arjuna was. And then by reading and seeing these pastimes of Krishna's intimate friends, and their relationship, we as well can develop that feeling of separation. Because when we see what the world was like before Krishna left, Krishna was under control of everything in Kurukshetra. But when we see the descriptions given in the Krishna book about the various environmental circumstances that were set up in the universe, and we see that in the celestial sphere, which is being used by Krishna's form as Mahavishnu lying in the causal ocean as his timepiece, then every leader of every house was in his place. And after Krishna was on the planet for his lifetime, the planetary systems were changed and put in a completely different situation. So much so that almost every form of nature, the animal kingdoms, the plant kingdoms, the storms, the rains, the winds, the element, everything was at that point put into a different relationship to mankind without Krishna's presence. Now we can go on to read verses 2 and 3, which have no purports. We'll see whether there will be time for verses 4. Verse 2 reads, Sokena susyad vadana rit sarojo hataprabha vibhum tam evanusmaram nasak nat pratibhasitam. Translation: due to grief, Arjuna's mouth and lotus-like heart had dried up. Therefore his body lost all luster. Now, remembering the Supreme Lord, he could hardly utter a word in reply. We see this ourselves in our own experiences in life when, we lose a loved one. And then even after that, maybe a year, 2 years later, and we're reminded of some special incident we had with that person, and then it chokes us up. The body goes through experiences that the soul loses control of. And see, this is the power of love. This is being revealed here in Arjuna, just like Lord Chaitanya revealed in Jagannath Puri temple. Verse 3, Kritrena samstabhya sucha paninam rijya natrayo stroksena samunadha pranayut kantya gatara. With great difficulty, he checked the tears of grief that smeared his eyes. He was very distressed because Lord Krishna was out of his sight, and he increasingly felt affection for him. Here again in this verse, then see, is revealing the nature of our communion with Krishna and our relationship developed by the Dharma of the age, this chanting of the holy names. It's a constant increasing experience. It should be as that. But now, due to the fact that we have all been so exposed to the material energy, as I've been saying for several classes now, that our minds have fixed in them desires, some of which we don't even know yet, are latent, waiting to have the opportunity to manifest. Wants and desires that we have that have caused us to come into this material universe. But this chanting is given as a means to be freed from those wants and desires. So all the time we're spending in chanting is itself time removed from any more involvement during that time with the material energy to create more habitual thoughts about our own pleasures and desires and all these things. And then not only is it during the time we are there spending, keeping us from the material energy's forces, but it is enabling us to be empowered now by remembrance of the realizations coming to us with our chanting of the holy names. I'm realizing now, Shri Radha Bihari ki jai, Shri Jagannath, Shri Baladev, Mai Subhadra ki jai, Shri Gauranitai ki jai. With this increasing experience of love of God in all of humanity at large will come the restoration. Krishna left with the seed of this love that Arjuna has in his heart for Krishna. The future generations now, by the reading of this even, are being made aware of what we are supposed to be developing in our hearts towards the Supreme Person. That's how these books being looked at as educational books for all of humanity. If these books were in every educational system in the world, automatically would come that development that would bring mankind into a higher stage of spiritual progress. And then diseases, all these things that are right now haunting us as effects of our past karma. It's what all these disturbances in societal transactions with human beings are being caused by our previous involvement with the material energy mixed with the desire to want to control the material energy, the desire to want to experience from the material energy that which it does not have to offer us. And so as so many human beings are continuously involving and developing their abilities, which they think will give them perfect experience of that which they're seeking, which they will later come to find out does not. We as devotees now, knowing that we have the means to be able to develop every day, every moment, moment by moment, a progressive relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is empowering us to the extent that when you go out into the world, by this knowledge of this separation being revealed in these few verses, you have knowledge that can liberate other souls. So you become guru in that communication you give to other souls that enables them at that moment to contemplate the reality of the Supreme Person. And that it is that Supreme Person and the qualities of that Supreme Person that they are longing for in all their endeavors in life. It is Krishna we're longing for the perfection of the human form we are looking for in others. We may even admit we don't have it ourselves, but we're looking for it in others. It's what demanded of politicians by other politicians by the people who vote for them. And none of us are perfect. To the extent that Krishna reveals what perfection is, and that's the longing that Arjuna has for that relationship, again, that he was having with him before he left. And that now he can have with no other soul the same way. But just like this morning, as A.J. Prabhu was pointing me and my attention to the direct statement being made by Srila Prabhupada on this day at a particular time in history about the fact that, and these statements being made have been put onto a calendar form, very nice to have, because irregardless of what day they occur on, they remain pertinent in their statements that have application for us to take into consideration the significance of, and they are potent enough by the meditation of the principle to, as well, during that time of meditation about the principles of Krishna consciousness, we are also freeing ourselves from what we would otherwise be thinking about in the development of our fulfillment of our desires. So that this realization of our separation of Krishna from Krishna as being the source of our suffering then brings us to the point of wanting to be in connection with. It should bring us. But see, for the most part, people don't even know. You could knock on all the doors in this neighborhood right around our immediate vicinity and ask any of them if they know where they could see God, even though it's right across the street. None of them would probably answer in the positive, knowing where they could find God or see God. And yet this is what we are offering to humankind, because Krishna wants to reveal himself to humankind, but not forcefully. Not in this age forcefully. In this age, he is doing it as a call to love him. Whereas in previous ages, he was calling humankind to revere him out of respect, out of reverence, out of awe. But now, because of the nature, the fallen nature of the souls, he's treating us like his equals. He's pouring out knowledge to give us what was available to him when he was brought into this, manifest into this world, and then revealing that it was from him that all this knowledge came to begin with. And so now we have access to that same knowledge, that we can, by access to this knowledge, constantly studying it, reveal to ourselves that relationship we have with the Supreme Person. And thereby knowing that that eternal relationship we are developing and have had with the Supreme since time immemorial, then it establishes within us a relationship such that we become tools, so to speak, in God's hands. I was asking someone yesterday about the valid use of these, I don't know what you would call them, atomic structures that, put these atomic little atoms into circulation, and then they use the energy they derive from the use of the buildup of these atoms. And they can heat a home with the use of the buildup of the heat from one atom.
Nuclear fission, nuclear fusion.
Say that again.
Nuclear fission, nuclear fusion.
Nuclear fission, yes. And they used, if I'm not mistaken, they used fusion.
Fusion, yes.
In the Nagasaki bomb. They used fusion, but fission is even more powerful than that by hundreds, if not thousands of times. And so what is restraining mankind is his fear of the use of the atomic energy. And we have seen in past history that there's substantial reason for there to be fear. But under controlled circumstances, there is a statement made in the Bible about when the future of peace comes, when the establishment of the entire world under one kingdom will come, that they will break their weapons into plowshares and pruning hooks. Meaning, instead of using those materials that we are now taking out of the earth for the destruction of other human beings, we will turn that energy into the production of healthy foods and more towards looking at what things will benefit all mankind. None of these wars are producing benefits for a society that couldn't be produced by society working in communion with one another, working together and recognizing the goals. There are certain goals all combined societies have together that they share as nations, the leaders of the nations, appointed by the people, which in some cases they are not, but as representatives of the people of a whole, or as leaders who want to represent people as a whole, then they should take into consideration the needs of people as a whole. And what we really have need of is to be able to know what a perfect human being is, to be able to know the standards of morality required to be considered a human being. If we don't know that, we're spending our whole lives uselessly. Because if we're not living as human beings, even though we have human forms. So what I'm saying right now may seem very accusative and may seem very, arrogant even. Some people may say, I'm thinking I'm greater than everybody else. But if in our minds we formulate what we might all consider to be a perfect planet, right? A perfect planet made up of all societies living in perfect harmony. This is what we would call idealism. But this is what the scriptures are all pointing us to. The ideal standard for humanity to be able to realize its ability together to be able to come to the level of. And this is what the heavenly planets are all based on. This is what the order of the universe has put into the order for the purpose of creating more perfect human beings that will enable all the inhabitants of all the planetary systems, with the exception of those that are created specifically for punishments. But see, Lord Chaitanya is coming, I am convinced. Lord Chaitanya is coming by pastimes revealed in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that his most intimate associates, the most intimate associates of the Supreme Person himself, are so dear to him that he is willing to fulfill their request to save the entire universe. So we would think, well, then there won't be any need for a universe. No, he's taken a generation out. Following generations will become so decrepit and degraded. The scriptures say that they will be reaching a height of approximately 3 feet tall, 3.5 feet tall, maximum. So this is not something to look forward to. But what is to be looking forward to is the concept created by all the scriptures of the world, that by the following of the precepts of the Supreme Person, the whole world can be put back into order, and it can once again be returned, and in that returning will be called the Golden Age, that all of mankind will be brought to the soul's original potencies, its original abilities. Telepathic communication will be commonplace. We will not need telephones. We will be putting away. There won't be need for hospitals. Old age will not be thought of something as bad, but those who gain more and more and more wisdom, they will be separating themselves by knowledge of the amount of wisdom they have from those who are lacking. Evident by the revelation given to all those who will be living through this period of the Golden Age, when they will be bringing children in the world, into the world, who will be born with the perfection of the cities. We won't need mechanics for transportation. You won't need to work and labor for 8 hours a day by the sweat of your brow to produce whatever you need. You can reach out anywhere in the universe and take. That's one of the cities. You can become bigger than the biggest. You can become smaller than the smallest. You can become lighter than the lightest. You can become heavier than the heaviest. Become full of knowledge. You can read people's minds. These kinds of abilities, looked at by most human beings as impossible, are said by the scriptures to have been and will be, to have been commonplace in the past and to be in the future, experienced by those advanced souls who will take to this path, the spiritual path, the everlasting path of the Supreme Person, laid out by the Supreme Person, carried on by histories of those who recognize the value of the teachings and take these teachings to heart and put into practice in their lives the principles laid out for the soul to know its eternal place, the soul to know its eternal relationship, for the souls to know the potential they have to look forward to, because they will be spared. I'm going to go today and find Narayana Kavacha. This will also be, it's being revealed to me. I'm telling you things that I'm getting from Super Soul, that I don't even get from reading the books, but it's verified by the truths revealed in the books. But when this becomes common knowledge, devotees may as well have interrelations with other planetary human beings. This was going on when Lord Krishna was here. When I first came to the movement, we were being told New Vrindavan was going to be a fulfillment of a vision. There would be 7 temples on 7 hills, right? And demigods would come to offer worship with the paraphernalia that would be used there. And that human beings would again be having superior knowledge being brought by superior beings to the planet. And by this knowledge of Sanskrit, we receive from them higher forms of knowledge. But, no, I'm not sure if this was Kirtananda's vision. If it was, good reason that it's possible it was a speculation. But in all the devotees' minds that were collecting for this purpose, and many devotees were collecting on behalf of that purpose, was the concept and the belief that these things were going to happen in the future. And see, all of the advancement human beings are making in any planet on the universe is being done by consciousness, what the human beings are thinking about. And so as their minds become involved with spiritual energy and become purified, then they gain the potency and the latent potential abilities that are there, dormant, waiting to be manifest according to time and circumstance. So these things, these abilities we have waiting to be manifest will be manifest when the time is right, when we become mature in our level of advancement of love of God, when we have no desire to become famous, wealthy, admired, adored, worshipped, all these things in our own desires. When those are all laid aside, it is evidence that the false ego has been broken. And we have a perfect example of this by the life of Srila Prabhupada. He had established, there had been over 100 temples established by his preaching. And the purity of it was revealed. These were not buildings put in his name. This was not an establishment of the Prabhupada, of a Bhaicharan. No. This is the Krishna consciousness movement. Revealing the fact that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Person, has established this movement himself. Yes. Through the potential abilities revealed in those who have taken up these teachings manifesting the purity of Srila Prabhupada's life to come at the age of 69 years old to a continent halfway across the world that he'd never been on before, to people whose belief systems are completely contrary to that he had been brought up as a child and only known. Coming himself from the spiritual world, we have evidence of, by Krishna's words, I will send my commander-in-chief, I will send my governor. And he was asked by Balaram, how is this spreading of the holy name going to take place through the entire world? And that was Krishna's response, I will send my commander-in-chief. So, by evidence of what happened by Srila Prabhupada's doing, and by being affected by the fact that he was doing it by instruction of his guru, who was doing it by instruction of his guru, who was doing it, going all the way up in the parampara to Krishna, the Supreme Person, establishing this movement for the benefit of mankind, all of humanity at large needs to take, for the value they are offering us, an honest look at these Vedic scriptures, these literatures now, which offer to you the ability, type in a word you have a question about that you might want to know. What is God's perspective? What is the Krishna conscious perspective on such an idea? And bring it to the search engine on Vedabase. Is it vedabase.org, vedabase.com? You will get it. Just type in Vedabase. And you will find there a listing of places where that very word can be found in the Vedas. And by double-clicking on the particular places found, you'll find illustrations giving to you a vision, allowing you to see through the windows made and opened up by these books into the spiritual world. These very teachings enable the soul to see into the spiritual world. That's what these pastimes are revelations of. We are the most fortunate human beings to be able to have them at our disposal. So we should not take for granted that they're just some old histories of some country far away. No, they are histories of the Supreme Person, the Supreme of all time, the Supreme of all time, who will be the Supreme forever and ever. And you will know that by the application of the principles given by that Supreme Person, Krishna. We call him Krishna. You can call him by other names, but he says that this name of Krishna is to him most pleasing, these two syllables, and it is that form of his name that he originally gave first into this universe, into the ears of the first one born out of his body, Brahma. So when he spoke his name into Brahma, we were there. In that name, the original seed contained all seeds. So, as we have histories of many civilizations on the planet that were here since the foundation of the planet, they were also given seeds to bring to the exterior surface of the world from the interior. All these planets are protective coverings of the dwellings that are inside these bubbles that are planets, we call planets, floating. They're floating by the hot airs inside them. And when we do further research, which will be made available in the future, of the inner surface of the world, of our planet, we will be finding proofs of and remains of previous ages described in our history, our own histories, in these ancient literatures described by the nations of the world that are believing in God, that there will be a coming together of all these forces, these spiritual forces that have been initiated by the original person, the supreme person, for his purpose. So all this will be coming to a head when all the systems of communication, even presently being used and being believed to be the superior form ever, the most superior form of communication ever made by human beings, which is not true at all, which is the claim being made by the most ancient literatures, which have within them the means of opening up the storehouse that became closed up by human beings' misuse of the abilities we have latent to be able to use. But see what will also come with the misuse, as happened in the past, as will more than likely happen again in the future. Because with opulence comes arrogance, pride, selfishness, ego, desires created without necessity. And if we concentrate on necessity, life will be easy to live. When we find out how little is necessary for us to develop abilities, eating and sleeping, basically all we need to do to live in this world. But chanting and studying and sharing our knowledge with one another is all we need to do to become complete in our experience of what human means. And that's what all human beings are supposed to be concentrating and getting the training of. That's what this Krishna consciousness movement is meant for. And without it, we're going to continue in the same kind of chaos, causing wars against each other, destroying nations, destroying histories of peoples whose origins are also significant for us to realize the day will come when the combining of all these ancient civilizations will once again be brought to the stature where all human beings recognize the sacredness of the planet, the sacredness of life, the sacredness of intercommunication with one another, the sacredness we should be experiencing even our exchanges with one another. Because if we have the power and the potency of true spirituality, the words of our truths can be food to those who are longing to know eternal truth. And we get that directly from the study of these literatures of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And it is not my declaration that no other literatures have it. But I can say by study of many other literatures, it is presenting itself as a superior form to all other literatures. And if we take the Bhagavad Gita as being spoken by the Supreme Person, we can see he gives to us an objective perspective. Because he, by reason of his own authority, gives us evaluation by his own opinion on what all these forms of religion have taken, according to him, that they are all being directed to. So who has better knowledge of what effect the practice of every kind of religion will have than him that these religions are directing themselves to? And that's who Krishna is, as he reveals himself in the pages of the Bhagavad Gita, in the pages of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, in the pages of Chaitanya Charitamrita. And we see in the life of Srila Prabhupada a power, a force of God that enables human beings to have an effect on this world that they would not be able to do otherwise. Sure, there are philosophers who have come and gone, who have left great indentations in the world. We will see the subject matter dealt with being God, the Almighty, the All-Powerful, leaving in effect the most powerful changes to mankind from every different phase of human beings' histories. Changes significant for mankind to make real progress. Not that limited to the restrictions of a human being's limitations, but those limitations exploded, destroyed, and then those living beings surrendered, given a protection, so that they can be in the future, secured eternally. That's what this movement is about, securing eternally and making the souls aware of that most secure place that they can enter into after this life with consciousness. Is the soul experiencing a stage of consciousness that has enabled it to come to this place of human that we're calling human. But there are much higher forms of that which is called human through the universe, and far superior forms to those in that realm called the spiritual world. That is what we are calling Vaikuntha, where there is no anxiety. And that is only attainable as far as I have come to know. If there is any literature on earth proclaiming, let us know that we can find the availability of Vaikuntha. Because those who are destroying are not allowed into that realm where there is no destruction. Doesn't that make sense? So if you are having a place free from disease, you don't allow people who are diseased into it. Doesn't that make sense? So similarly, when we speak metaphorically, the diseased state the soul can be in is that of its formulation of ideas and desires. And we are saying the means to be able to purify that and direct those by simply turning them in the right direction, to know who is the one responsible for being able to fulfill all those desires. Then we come to find that friendship with that person is actually the greatest reward. And that's what, as well, the aim of this chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. I hope this class has solved any questions in your mind that I might not be able to give a class if the purport is too short. Because see, if we ask Krishna to use our tongues, ultimately the tongue that gets loosened just keeps flapping and flapping and flapping. There's no end to be able to talk about. Look what Sheshanag has spoken about Krishna. He never repeats himself either. It's just amazing. So, there's no end to wanting to know about Krishna. There's no end to being able to glorify and speaking about the qualities of Krishna. There's no end to the development of love that we can ourselves as human beings find the ability to develop. And so we should pursue that in our lives. And the ability we have energy to use in this world, we should pursue love of God. And that will give, I am declaring, this will give us the greatest satisfaction in life. Find love of God, and you found the answer to why you were born, why you were put here, to find love of God. Any comments? Any questions? Any realization?
Thank you. Thanks.
Jai. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai.